Many of you are fans of this dinosaur, and you have been begging for a perspective theory, so we finally decided to answer your request. Here is a perspective theory video based on the Spinosaurus from Jurassic Park 3, following some of the events of the movie. He heard the plane's engines roaring loud overhead. He didn't understand what they were, but he knew that they did not sound like anything he's ever heard. Of course, he'd seen these weird metallic objects flying in the air before. These ones were different. He wasn't really curious and most likely wanted to be left alone. He figured if he went deeper into the island, that he would most likely not encounter any trouble. He's had enough experience with humans to have grown and developed a dislike for them. Many hours passed by, and the Spinosaurus rested gently on the forest floor. This nest he made wasn't so bad if he said so himself. But no sooner did that thought occur to him on how comfortable he felt, he heard rustling in the brush. He heard voices and metallic clinking. Oh no. He got up and went deeper into the forest. The noise went away slightly. It sounded as though it was a distance from him, maybe about 2 miles back. However, every time he moved, it seemed to follow. This predator had spent many years clearing this territory for himself. Every dinosaur in this wilderness had to learn to fear him. He had to be that way to survive. He realized very quickly that food was going to be an issue if those other predators were around. He also did not want the herbivores hanging around his territory too much either. A herd of Triceratops came through while he was injured from a fight he had recently with a T-Rex, and immediately tried to take him out. The same with Stegosaurus. If the herbivores got too close, he would make a move first to scare them away. He would kill them on his own terms, but he did not fancy them coming up on his hideout, although he had many. The herbivorous dinosaurs wandering into his territory and taking up roots there was a problem as well because, well, it attracted other carnivores. He needed other dinosaurs to fear him so he could have a peace of mind, and so he could hunt on grounds away from his nesting area. Dinosaurs on the island generally knew to stay clear of the Spinosaurus' territory, especially at the core of it where he spent most of his time. But for some reason, these specific organisms, the humans, didn't seem to get the picture. From he was little, he had identified these creatures as sadistic predators. They were like parasites, and he's seen the atrocities they've done to other creatures. They didn't even eat them, and even though they've been eaten many times by other dinosaurs, they were relentless. The humans seemed to antagonize dinosaurs just for fun. That scared him more than anything. The Spinosaurus kept on avoiding the humans until he found a higher elevation. There he rested. For sure they wouldn't come by here. He was wrong. He was rudely awakened by gunfire. He was so disoriented that he had no idea where to run. He got up quickly and tried to make an escape. He roared intimidatingly at the humans, and he was so distracted by the humans in front of him that he didn't see the two to his left loading harpoons. He felt the pain quickly and sharply enter his side. They were trying to kill him. He had no idea why these humans had it out for him, but he realized at that moment that if he did not make a decision to face them, he would be eradicated. He was the only one of his kind at the moment, and he intended for it to stay that way. The humans tried ceaselessly to subdue him, but everything they tried failed. He tore into the humans in front of him. He decided that he was going to fight, and there were a considerable amount of these little things. They were relentless indeed. Some of them fired from the treetops. Eventually, he was able to kill most of them. However, some of them got away. Spinosaurus knew that if he did not find them, that they would come back to finish the job. So he went out in search of them. This happened several more times. After he found and killed those humans, more planes flew overhead, and without fail, shortly after, humans followed. He realized that the one mission that these humans had seemed to be to kill him. He didn't know why, and he didn't care. He realized that any human that stepped foot on this island was there to erase him, so he became extra sensitive to the presence of humans. As for the first group that had come to kill him, he had given it a rest, trying to search for the humans that escaped. As he was lying down trying to heal from his wounds, they came back. The ammunition that they used didn't pierce him, but it did hurt immensely. That's when he had finished them off. The Spinosaurus grew paranoid. Every time he heard a plane flying over the sky, he would run to the strip of cleared out land where they usually touched down to wait for humans nearby. He decided that there was no way in hell that these humans were ever going to bring him down. He was going to survive no matter what. The paranoia was severe until there was a lull for quite a while. That is, until now. The Spinosaurus' eyes flipped open when he heard the sound of a small plane's engine getting closer and closer to the island. He closed his eyes, hoping that this time the plane would just go on its way. But it didn't. It just got closer, and eventually he heard it make contact with the ground. He knew this would happen again, and he knew what was coming. He reluctantly got up from his resting place and stealthily walked closer to the plane strip. Around the time he got there, he could hear them. A human was yelling, "Eric! Eric!" As a matter of fact, 2 of them were making that horrific noise, a call he's never heard before. The one that sounded the loudest sounded different than the others, and considerably much louder than the others, even though it had a higher pitch. Maybe it was a baby version or a female version of the species. This worried him because that means that these things are breeding. He must not have killed them all, and he wondered where they were all coming from. He can never find their nesting area. Anyways, business as usual. He intended to kill these humans just like he did the others before they could get to him. As the Spinosaurus got closer to the strip, he heard one of them prancing around only a few yards in front of him. He could hear it holding one of those metallic things that fire those painful stones. Then he heard 2 others following closely behind that one. Anger boiled within the Spinosaurus. He could hear the very loud human on the plane strip, probably ordering these 3 to take him out. He could see them now. The Spino knew it was now or never, and he lay close to the ground until the humans were right upon him. Suddenly, he rose to his full height and let out a mighty roar. As he attacked the closest human, he snapped his jaw shut and swiped after the human. Lucky for the human, he missed. All 3 of the humans started firing. The bullets hit the Spinosaurus, and these ones seemingly did nothing. When the 2 humans that had been following the first one saw this, they took tail and ran. Smart. However, the leader stood his ground and kept firing. The Spinosaurus pushed a tree in front of him straight for the human, who quickly dodged out of the way and lost his weapon. The human got up holding one of his arms as he ran after the others. Oh no, he didn't. The Spinosaurus wasn't going to let him get away. He knew that if a human got away, it would bring more. They always bring more. He had to catch them, starting with this one. It was hard for the Spinosaurus to break through the trees, so consequently the large dinosaur was slowed down. During this time, the Spinosaurus could hear the plane making noise. Oh crap. To the Spinosaurus' surprise, he saw the injured human stop in the middle of the strip. He was yelling desperately, and the more he yelled, the more the plane got louder. The Spinosaurus took this to mean that the human was ordering this large metal thing to attack. He knew he had to catch him before that happened, and also before they signaled more humans to come. The Spinosaurus dug his claws into the ground and crashed through the trees with all of his might to get to the human. He was just standing there like a fool. This would make it easy to shut him up real quick. Only a few more feet. Just a few more. Yes. The Spinosaurus crashed through the trees with ease, turned his head to the side, and shut that human up. Right at that moment, the plane took a huge bite out of the Spinosaurus. This shocked the dinosaur, and he dropped the human momentarily out of his mouth. The pain surged all the way down his flank. After he recovered from the slight injury to his left side, he went back towards the human and made sure he was dead for good. The Spinosaurus looked in the direction of the plane. It went to hide. But he knew exactly where it was, and where the plane was most likely is where the humans were as well. He had to finish them off, so he made a beeline to the area. The Spino had learned how to creep upon his prey stealthily without making noise. He had to tread lightly. He knew that humans had a tendency to carry these firing weapons with them, so after he found the plane, he cautiously inspected it. He nudged it slightly to make sure it couldn't move and confirmed that it was dead. Haha, it wasn't going to take any more bites out of him anytime soon. However, he saw that the humans were still alive and inside. He could see them moving around in there. Now was his chance. He bit the plane with all his force and pulled. He felt the front end of the plane loosen and stepped back, thinking it was going to bite him again. This exposed the humans as the front end of it fell away, and the Spinosaurus wasted no time going in for the kill. He quickly grabbed one, which had been one of the humans he saw in the forest initially trying to kill him. After dropping that human, he tore the head from off of it. Then he let out a mighty angry roar full of insanity and rage. He was tired of humans encroaching upon his privacy and his right to life. He threatened to kill them all. Suddenly, the plane jumped from out of the tree and the Spinosaurus realized that the humans were trying to get away. But without the plane's wings, it was useless. He caught up to them quickly and rolled the plane back, trying to get the humans out and keeping their escape route cut off. While he was trying to get them from out of the plane by taking huge chunks out of it, they slighted him by going through the other end. The chase was on. Unfortunately, they got away by entering an area with very thick trees. This enraged the Spino, but he wasn't going to give up that easily, and he started to go the other way around. One way or another, he would catch them and kill them, but tickle his underside when they came running out straight for him, making it significantly easy. Unfortunately, they brought company. The Spinosaurus had run-ins with T-Rexes before. Although he did not enjoy it, he could handle himself quite well to stave off a T-Rex. But right now, this T-Rex was in the way, and apparently being controlled by the humans. The Spinosaurus was shocked to say the least, but he roared intimidatingly, hoping that this would send the T-Rex fleeing. For some reason, it did not. This Tyrannosaurus Rex was obviously stupid, and this alone enraged the Spinosaurus. The fight was over fairly quickly, and the T-Rex had only been an obstacle. For a while, the Spinosaurus lost the humans, but if it was one thing he was good at, it was tracking things, specifically humans. Their smell is different from anything else he's ever smelled on the island, so they were fairly easy to find, and they were noisy, and they had no idea how to travel stealthily. It's almost as though these stupid little things wanted to be hunted. Some hours went by, and he figured the humans would surface at some point in time, so he waited in an area humans often frequented. If they were still here, they were going to end up in this area at some point. The Spinosaurus, having closed his eyes for only a few seconds, heard the sound of these annoying creatures run by him. They made themselves even more obvious because they were making the same annoying noise. Eric! 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 Mom! Dad! They had no idea how close they had been to him. He was right at the edge of the clearing they just ran into. Just like clockwork, here they are. And there seems to be more of them for some reason. The Spino stood up very slowly and watched the humans as they got caught up in whatever it is the hell they were doing. They were so stupid. He wondered how they managed to escape him all this time. He wanted to kill them more than anything right now, and he crept up very slowly, trying not to make a sound. He stalked them stealthily and was making a move to ambush them. He was getting closer and closer, and they still didn't detect him. Jeez, they were dumb. Everything was working out very well as he crept up on them slowly out into the open. That is, until his stomach started making that strange noise. It was that same strange noise it had been making before. It was probably the human he ate trying to signal to its friends from inside his stomach, even though it seemed impossible. Even in their death, these things were still a nuisance. The Spinosaurus froze and closed his eyes. He hoped that staying still for some strange reason would cause them not to notice him, but the noise was really obvious. However, he still hoped since they were so stupid. Unfortunately, the humans turned around slowly and saw him standing there looking like an idiot. The Spinosaurus kept hoping they wouldn't run, and then of course they did. Immensely irritated, the Spinosaurus quickly gave chase. He was almost upon them until they magically just went through the fence. The Spinosaurus could not believe what was happening. How were they able to have made that hole? They seemed to taunt him on the other side as they continued to jeer him and feel each other up. He figured if these tiny pipsqueaks could make a hole in this barrier, then surely he could too. He ran back, and using all of his weight and force, he clipped through the entire fence. It hurt only a little bit, but his rage kept him going. They went into the building ahead and locked him out. The Spinosaurus used his head to try and budge the entrance, but it wouldn't. He backed up, ready to crash through it like he did the fence, but then he really started to feel the pain and his head was ringing. Crashing through that fence did more damage than he thought. He also knew that the humans would find another way to get out. He roared in agony and anger. He decided to wait it out because the humans had to resurface at some point. Besides, they make so much noise that they're easy to track, and they did not have their plane anymore to fly away easy. He was finally able to pass the annoying object from out of him. Not long after he did, it started to make noise. He was about to destroy it until he realized it's an object that clearly attracts the humans. He remembered that the humans started running towards his direction after the noise was made, so he decided to leave it and hang back, hoping it would make noise that would draw the humans to it again. The Spinosaurus closed his eyes, and hours later, he could hear the telltale sign of these humans. They were actually digging through his feces to find the object. Humans were weird. After finding it, they headed for the water and then proceeded in making a whole bunch of noise. He couldn't believe it. These little animals were really some kind of stupid. You'd think for how much they wanted to avoid him that they'd be quiet and stealthy, but as big as he is, he did a much better job at doing so. He engaged in the ambush. He had them trapped in this little boat and tried his best to kill them. He used his claws to try and get to them from out of the cage they were in. One of them screamed, and he could hear that he was doing damage. No matter what, he just could not get a grasp on the slippery little things. Suddenly, he heard one from his left. The little bugger had somehow climbed up very high, which made it a convenient biting height for the Spinosaurus. The Spinosaurus did not attack right away because he figured the human was playing at something. Was the human really that stupid as he was to sit out in the open begging for the Spinosaurus to kill him? He must have some kind of weapon. Though the Spinosaurus tried to get the human off the tall object by smashing into it, hoping the human would fall. The human literally dangled in front of him as though it was trying even harder for the Spinosaurus to latch on. The Spino had to wonder what the hell was going on. But he wasn't stupid. He wasn't going to bite this human because it seems as though the human wanted the Spinosaurus to bite him while he was touching this tall object. The Spinosaurus roared and knocked into the tall object, trying to get the human down from off of it. Unfortunately, the Spino's efforts were cut short when he felt something smack into his side. He saw it fall into the water, and as he tried to assess what it was, the water blew up in flames around him. His skin ignited and burned. The Spinosaurus was literally scared out of his mind. These humans lit water on fire. This was definitely some next level creepiness, and the Spinosaurus decided in that moment that maybe it's best to leave these humans alone. He realized he was dealing with a new kind of animal that could set water on fire. Water. The only thing he wanted to do at that moment is get away as far from them as possible, because fire is something he did not mess with. Fire took him back to some dark days in his childhood. The Spinosaurus went as deep into the jungle as he could go and stayed there. Maybe if the humans came to him, it would be better. But as the hours and days and weeks went by, they never did. He was expecting more humans to come to retaliate, but they never did. For many, many weeks, the Spinosaurus lived in peace. For what it's worth, he got his point across and he lived to tell the tale. Well, that's it for now, guys. That is definitely a more personified version of the Spinosaurus, but we just thought it would be fun to incorporate it into a theory as to why he tracked the humans down as vigilantly as he did. We also have another video covering that, so that will be included in the card, but tell us what you thought and thanks for watching. Also, what are your theories as to why the Spinosaurus chased after the humans? Again, thanks for watching. This has been Altiori. You ask, we answer.